There is B.J. Schumacher, the #1 ranked bull rider in the world. He won the first Xtreme Bull stop down in San Antonio. Can he go 2 for 2 in Texas? Now that this guy, his traveling partner, Fred Betcher, and Corey Melton have anything to say about it, it's showtime, X-Bull style, down in Houston. You may be the best in the biz in bull riding, but when you cross the Red River, that just don't mean a thing. Here, the standards for being #1 or even aspiring to be a world champion takes on a whole different feel. This is Texas. This is the cradle of the cowboy religion. This is bull riding you. And when you study for the final exam, remember there is continuing education in areas like bumps, bruises, concussions, and courage. Mess with the bull, you get the horn, next on ESPN. Welcome to Reliance Stadium in Houston, Texas, where a year ago here we set a record. Largest crowd ever to see a bull riding, more than 63,000. They think they could break that record today here at Xtreme Bulls Houston. Hello everyone, I'm Jeff Metters. With me is Donnie Gay, and hey Donnie, you're an 8-time world champion, but we're not going to see any world champs here in Houston. That kind of opens the door for everybody else.
Well, Terry Don's crippled, and for one reason or another, we don't see any of the gold buckles. But I'm going to tell you, that doesn't really make any difference as far as the competition. We've got guys like Brian Richardson, Clint Craig, people in this field that you've seen before. Jesse Bale, they all can win. Awesome competition, but it mainly is the matchups. We've got some great bulls and some great bull riders, so I expect it to be really, really tough competition.
I think you need to keep your eye on the cheeseheads. B.J. Schumacher won in San Antonio. He's #1 in the world. He travels with another guy from Wisconsin, Fred Betcher, who tore his bicep last September, put the kibosh on the rest of his year, but he's healthy now and he's ready to go.
Well, the operation, he didn't have to have it. It's not really going to affect his riding, and he mentally is dealing with it really good. But B.J. Schumacher's been the hottest guy early in the season, but it's real tough to keep that going all year long. Just hope they stay healthy.
The first round is coming up. Danger, Will Robinson. It's Xtreme Bulls Houston. We'll be right back. This ESPN presentation of PRCA Xtreme Bulls Houston, presented by Coors Original from Reliance Stadium down in Houston, Texas, is brought to you by Coors Original, real Rocky Mountain beer. It's Guys Night Out. By Wrangler, for the cowboy in you. By Justin Boots, standard of the West since 1879. And by Mahindra Tractors, cultivate your dreams. Great view there of Reliance Stadium, the Super Bowl here not that long ago, but it's some serious Cowboys now as we get into the second stop on our 2004 Xtreme Bulls Tour down in Houston, Texas. Donnie Gay, some matchups to look for here in the first part of the semifinals.
Well, William Farrell's drawn a bull called Rocket Man, my favorite young bull. Jerry Nelson, Salt River Rodeo, brings these bulls in. There's only 2 bulls, BA and Little Locomotive, that have had a qualified ride in over a year. Rocket Man, Sudden Impact, they're 2 to watch for, and Brian Richardson could be in the 90s if he could stick that Sudden Impact.
Setting the stage for a very tough semifinal, some great bullfighters. You saw the legend Miles Hare.
Tricky Rick Chapman, these guys have been around a while, but this next guy, this one we like.
Daryl Diefenbach, he worked the Wrangler National Finals last December. If you're a bull rider, you want to see him out there.
You really do, and there's Everman's friend, Leon Coffey, the barrel man. He's been around, and if you needed him in a pinch, he would get out of that barrel and save you, but you'd owe him big time.
Yeah, you would. Great way to start, a guy that won in Salt Lake last year on our PRCA Xtreme Bulls Tour. They call him Poindexter, Matt Austin, and still riding in those glasses.
Well, you and I talked about that. I don't know what I'd do if I had to ride in them. You would opt for goggles, but if this bull spins to the left, it'll make it real tough for Matt Austin, but to the right, he's got a good chance. Bull has a lot of different trips. I picked this matchup. I thought that he'd probably be the guy to beat coming right out of the box.
Almost made the Wrangler NFR last year, 18th in the world standing.
Oh yeah, right in the gate to the right, into his hand, that's what he likes, and then the bull's gonna reverse the spin. He's in a little trouble, doesn't make the reverse, but Remember, if you don't get 15 qualified rides, time has to do with getting in there. Let's see what we got.
Well, Matt did a pretty good job of getting to the corner, but once he slid over to adjust a little bit, that bull felt him and just kind of went the other way.
Got settled into the right. You're getting it, Jeff. I mean, he got settled into the right, and that bull just switched direction really quick, and you see the time clock, 6.07. There's that scar on his right cheekbone, got hit in the face at Fort Worth, and he's recovered pretty quick.
Yeah, so Matt Austin now is going to have to play the time game just to see if everybody makes it back in terms of qualified rides. 6.07, not that bad in terms of time. Will Ferrell will be next to go. Finished 15th in the world last year as he made it to his first Wrangler NFR.
Jerry Nelson's little bull, Rocket Man, going to crank it back, and Will Ferrell just got over-aggressive and overrode that bull. Didn't give him a chance. That bull has not had a qualified ride on. Nobody's ridden this bull yet, but 2.34 seconds. That was just, watch him move. He just let that bull whip him over into his hand, and he just stayed right there. The bull reverses the spin. He tried to pick him back up. William Farrell out of position. That was a big mistake from Will Farrell.
Slapped him with his free hand, too, and pretty generous on that 2.34 seconds. Talked about B.J. Schumacher being the #1 cowboy in the world. Dustin Elliott, somewhat unknown. We're going to see him a little bit later on. He's starting to burst onto the scene. Cody Hancock, 2000 world champion in there, #6. Clint Craig off to a good start on his year. Now to Greg Fuller. Lives in Dimmitt, Texas. It's a bull from Salt River.
No mas dinero. That means that you can't get much money on this one because you can't hardly seem to stay there for 8 seconds. This bull, I don't really like him. Hard to ride. Wants to sling his head around, comes left. Fuller makes a good move. You see his hand pop out of the bull rope. That's because he slid back, put way too much pressure on, but no mas dinero puts him down. Got him roll his back and his head around. A little unsettling if you're not really used to it. Got him tipped into his hand, puts him down. Not a problem for the bull.
Still searching for our first qualified ride. Here's another matchup you like, Brian Richardson. He won the Pace Pecani Pro Rodeo Classic last November in Dallas in front of his hometown fans. What really propelled him into the Wrangler NFR.
Look at the horns on sudden impact, goes to the right away from his hand. And Brian, I think, looking at those horns, got on the end of his arm, put him back and put him down. You know, these bulls can't read your resume. They don't care how good you are. You got to do it each time you get on. You see him. He made one recovery from being back, got back forward right from there, gets back around, and then goes back again, and you're not going to make 2 mistakes on a bull of that caliber.
You have horns like that, does that make you leery in terms of trying to get out over the top of them?
It does. Anybody says it doesn't, I don't believe he's telling you the truth.
Bo Hill, he's big. He's like 6'2", so he needs a big bull. He's got shot of courage. Another bull from Salt River, but the stats on this bull pretty tough. 100% buck-off rate at the moment.
100% buck-off ratio. But you know the hardest part is this bull probably doesn't weigh 1,250 pounds. He's not very big, and a long, tall, lanky bull rider is going to have trouble squeezing with his legs. Let's see if he can do it with balance alone. Here he comes, coming to the right. It's almost like setting on a fence rail, and it's almost not fair, but you can see it's early in the year. You hate to see a guy holding his shoulder and his arm and all this, that, and the other. Youth is a wonderful thing, but look at Miles Harry. You think he's got a little age on him and he might be a little slow? I don't think so. He's got bull sense. Look at him. Now that's what the bullfighters do, offer themselves. That's pretty big.
Yeah, he jumped right in there. This is the semifinal round from Xtreme Bulls Houston, presented by Coors Original. The final coming up on Sunday, June 6th. For more information, go to ESPN.com and just click on Pro Rodeo. I feel for Bo Hill. It just always seems like he draws a smaller bull in the pen.
It never fails. You know, they don't all the time, but it just seems like it. And Lane McCaslin, our next guy, he's got one called Purgatory. This bull hadn't been ridden 8 seconds in 3 years. Watch this bull. He'll spin either way, but he'll go out a little ways and give you a chance. Guys don't seem to like him. He looks to the right, said, nope, going to go to the left. Don't even have to turn back. This bull is really a good one. Jerry Nelson got him from the Rafter G over in Mesquite, and this is a Born to Buck program bull right here, and he likes doing it. Been ridden one time, and they won a $10,000 bounty on him. Purgatory, remember that name.
Jerry Shepard getting next on Hurts So Good, another bull from Salt River. Brian McDonald, who's the bull riding director for the PRCA, has a webpage, Pro Bull Stats. In Salt River, their bulls just go on and on and on.
This bull here, another 100% buck-off record. And look at this bull kick. Little young bull Shepherd's got a seat. He's got a chance. Okay, there's 8 seconds. Jerry Shepherd, just when you think he's gone, he's back.
Well, he rides a bull that has not been ridden. He breaks the drought here in Houston. And here's a kid that's really had a good winter in terms of what he's accomplished so far in the PRCA.
Now, I always thought he was looking at the ground, but it's just the way he rides. He likes to put his head over on his left shoulder and just kind of hangs in there. But this bull keeps turning back to the left, and Shepherd, he put it all together for an 8-second bull ride and get a good score.
They kind of put his head on the pillow. 84 for Jerry Shepherd. First cowboy to make a qualified ride down here in Houston. As Corey Melton settles in, we've talked about him a lot last year. He won the inaugural kickoff event in the PRCA Extreme Bulls competition in San Antonio. Had a pretty solid year in 2004. Made it to the Wrangler NFR, but he's the kind of guy that's got world championship type potential.
You know, 173,000 in official earnings, you know, wins over 200 grand, and he's just a couple of years out of, 3 years out of high school. Louisiana man, cowboy raised. Corey Melton, another real tall guy, but puts it together. He is a good bull rider, and this is a second-generation bull. Good matchup. He's got his gloves sticky. He just hopes his Wranglers are sticky, too.
Also has kind of an interesting riding style. Kind of rides back there on the end of his arm.
He's tall, get away from it, little locomotive. His daddy locomotive breath. He's in a little bit of a bind. Look at him pushing on the rope, trying to get there. And I mean, he rung his bell. Rings his bell. He looked like he may have hit right on his shoulder, and he's had a shoulder problem for a little over a year, stemming back before the NFR. But you see him coming to the left, and he has to push. Trying to shove his, get his hips back over to the left, but his left foot comes up, and when he hit on his right shoulder, his head banged off the ground, and the lights is on, but nobody's home. Wow.
Justin Sports Medicine team down here in Houston, you know, they'll go to work on him and get him ready if he does make the finals. There's Fred Betcher, lives in Wisconsin, getting set. We'll see how he matches up with the hitchhiker when we come back. Getting all taped up. Glad you're with us for PRCA Extreme Bulls Houston, presented by Coors Original. Jeff Metters along with 8-time bull riding world champion Donnie Gay. We'll look at the matchups now in the second set here in the semifinals. Well, some more Salt River bulls in here. We'll also get into some Sammy Andrews bulls.
Well, Hitchhiker from Salt River and Fred Betcher, that's a good match. But, you know, Fred's riding real well. But Casey Bays, he comes up big at venues, and he's got Jimbo, second-generation bull of Sammy Andrews. That could be really good.
Robert Bowers settling in. Here's a cowboy that won the 1997 Canadian title. Pretty tough, 3 trips to the Wrangler NFR. In fact, his brother Kyle doing very well this year in bareback riding.
Well, and he's pulling that bull rope in his hand. It's too far down on the side. I mean, you know, and too far down on the side means a good half an inch. And if he's not real fortunate, he's going to get whipped into his hand and have to make a huge move to recover. Let's see if it works. Okay, into his hand, down on the ground, and you see that coming before. You know, those are just those are mental mistakes that a guy will do, you know, set up playing golf, position in the batter's box. I mean, professionals aren't supposed to make those kind of mistakes, that, especially in venues like this. Robert Bowers like to have that over.
Yeah, the Canadian champion not being able to stay hooked there for very long, 1.72 seconds.
All right, well, not too long.
Ryan Brown, he's a guy that won last year on our Extreme Bulls Tour and made it to his first Wrangler National Finals rodeo. Had some problems there and has kind of been fighting it mentally ever since.
Well, he's never really recovered, and he jumps out, he draws a good bull here. Usually goes all in into a spin. He's over the dashboard. Look out, run over, stepped on. You know, and sometimes when it rains, it pours. I mean, he's trying everything. He's going, you know, with the, you know, the in 5 o'clock shadow look now, and, you know, but guess what? That doesn't have anything to do with anything whenever you put your name beside one of these bulls. You got to get up, get it on, and do it right. He's just lucky he didn't get stepped on real hard.
5.49 seconds, and yeah, Ryan not getting off in the best of spots there with Mr. Freeze. Here's Fred Betcher matched up with Hitchhiker, one half of the Wisconsin connection, travels with B.J. Schumacher, who's #1 in the world. In fact, B.J. and Fred finished 1-2 in the Pace-Pecani Pro Rodeo Challenge in Omaha last fall, so Fred trying to keep up with the younger counterpart there.
Well, 29 is not old. It just seems like it when you're seeing guys riding that don't even have a shaving utensils yet.
Guys that can't rent a car yet, but Fred Betcher, great year last year, finished 10th, and what slowed him down was that torn bicep.
Oh, got a good one here. Round to the left, he's staying up on the bull rope. That's what he's got to do. Got to move forward, make the adjustment. There's the horn. Yeah. Okay, Betcher. Great crowd on hand, Reliant Stadium in Houston, Texas, and watching a cheesehead come get the money. Look how he gets a hold with his feet and squeezing with the legs. I mean, that's what a lot of guys don't do in this day and time, and Betcher gets it done, does a nice job.
84 the score for Fred Betcher, and Hitchhiker's a bull that's been ridden about 57% of the time, so in looking at some of the bulls we've seen so far, good draw for Fred Betcher, and he doesn't waste them. Myron Dwart, the Hawaiian now, he settles in. He's matched up with Freckles. This is another bull from Salt River, and he's also perfect. Nobody's made the whistle on him this year.
And Myron's not going to either. This bull doesn't fit him, coming to the left and throw him right back where he started from. But you know, there's no words to describe this little bull right here. Freckles has been bucking for about 10 years. That makes him about 14 years old, 13 at least. And he's been doing that. He's been ridden maybe 4 times in 10 years, Jeff. I mean, he's an incredible bull from Salt River, Freckles.
Being a 10-year veteran, he hasn't lost a step, has
No.
he? Corey Navarro next on Silent Angel, another bull from Salt River. Buck-off percentage for this bull about 83%.
Well, and the guys that have ridden him have really impressed me. This bull is hard to ride. Corey Navarro, he's a sticky bull rider. Got to get it done. This bull was a lot like the one that Jerry Shepard rode, black, and he'll change direction. Hard to stick with. Coming to the left, and he rolls him into his hand right out of the gate. I don't think that Corey's still real settled in with his helmet. He comes around with his free hand, though, then that he threw himself off, helped the bull get that done. Miles Hare doing a nice job, and Corey looking back at it and thinking, man, all I got to do is settle down here. Melissa will be getting on to him.
Won't get a second chance here, though, 2.68 seconds. Casey Bays now as we kind of change gears and get into some Sammy Andrews bulls.
Well, one of those bodacious calves, Jimbo Bays. This guy has got flashes of brilliance. He's in a little trouble right there. And you see he just kind of checked out. He got into his hand. He was not going to be able to make the turn. But that's one of the things that I've not been a real proponent of. I don't think he tries hard enough all the time. But once you slide back off of your rope and you're into your hand, Dan Willis, the 1965 Rookie of the Year, said there was a time to try and a time to fly, and a smart bird knows when.
Well, this time Casey Bays has to fly 3.74 seconds, and that's Cody Buller, another Sammy Andrews bull, irks me in the chute right there. 67% buck-off rate for this bull, so you got to like Cody's chances of maybe making
I tell you what,
whistle.
for this bull to have this kind of color, now Urkel hit this bull's daddy, was solid black, no horn, spun to the left right in the gate. This one here irks me. Well, Cody Buller, you know he wasn't going to play in the band. He's a bull rider. Come on, Cody, bear down. Got a good seat on him, round to the right, into his hand, spurring, staying up on the bull rope, overrides him a little, makes a good hustle move, hangs in there tight. Let's see if the judges, they got the stopwatch, and I'm sure he made it. Jerry Nelson standing there going, yeah, that wasn't one of my bulls that they rode. Okay, now watch, he'll miss a holt with his outside foot. Once you start spurring, don't stop. What happens? He stops. Overrides in the hole, but he's gonna make it, looks like.
Just shy, 7.74 seconds for Cody Buller. You got to like his chances to come back on time if it comes to that. Rusty Patrick next, another bull from Sammy. This is Mighty Mouse. This is a bull also that has not been covered so far in 2004.
Third generation cowboy, Guthrie, Oklahoma. He's been around the environment and he knows the bull. He's seen him before. Rusty Patrick, he's another one of those guys. I think he won Cheyenne. He's shown some flashes of brilliance, but consistency, the key to getting that real good bull rider category.
No straps on his helmet say bull tough. We'll find out.
Well, let's see. Whipped him down, got him out of position. You know, a lot of times they'll weaken a little bit if they touch him with the free hand, but This right here, we don't know if he touched him, and he probably should have went on with it. Whips him over, just get him tipped over his hand. No chance to really recover, but I just, that's a bull tough helmet, but I'd sure rather have a Resistol or a Stetson on.
So Rusty Patrick, another Cowboy, playing the time game here. We've had 2 guys making qualified rides so far. A pair of 84s, here's one of them, Fred Betcher on the Hitchhiker. We'll be back in Houston in just a moment.
Back at Reliant Stadium in Houston, Texas, PRCA Xtreme Bulls stop in Houston. Jeff Metters along with 8-time world champion Donnie Gay. We've reached the midway point. Fred Betcher, we talked about him off the top of the show, half of that Wisconsin team. He's tied for the lead with an 84. BJ Schumacher, the other Wisconsin bull rider, he's coming up on a bull called Dippin' Out. Who else do you like in this next section?
Well, you know, any number of guys, but I like, you know, because I'm going to pull for Clint Craig. I like the guy, I want him to win, so I pull for him. He's got a good little spinner. He should ride him and get back to that final go-round. And then don't ever count out Jesse Bale. I mean, they call him a bronc rider. I call him a great cowboy, and he can ride bulls.
And there's, I guess, the Cowboy in the hot seat. BJ Schumacher won the first stop this year, #1 in the world. He was the runner-up to Terry Don West last year, so he's a young bull rider, kind of getting his sea legs, if you will, and he seems to be ready to go.
Well, Vernon Guidry sends this section of bulls in, but Greg Potter, National Finals winner. The guy's real sticky. BJ got to keep making the whistle.
Segment number 3 now in our PRCA Xtreme Bull Stop, Houston, Texas, presented by Coors Original. Howdy Cloud lives in Texas. Wasp Stinger will be the bull. This bull comes from Guidry.
Well, this bull, Vernon Guidry owned the great bull Red Wasp, and that's this bull's daddy. And he's a real quick one, and might fit Howdy Cloud. Starts to the left, changes his mind, jumps out of it. Howdy Cloud got a seat on him. Good position right there. Nice bull ride. Okay, good for Howdy. You know, he rides bulls that are that size real well. You know, Howdy's just barely 5'4", 135 pounds. Gets a little bit stiff and gets on the end of his arm and then doesn't do anything about it. But he keeps shoving his hips toward that bull rope, and that gets him out of a lot of trouble. But he may be in some more because he's going to do it again.
That bull had a couple of nasty moves coming out of there, but Howdy stays right with him. 79, puts him in 3rd place at the moment.
All right, Jerry Nelson, that designer beard. Guy's got some great bulls here, maybe more than anybody in the history of the rodeo game.
We'll get back to those Salt River bulls in just a moment. This is P.J. Morrison, lives in Lipan, Texas. This is another bull from Sammy Andrews, Cat Daddy.
All right, Cowboy P.J. Morrison, Montana bull rider, stayed in Texas for a couple years, worked at the Rafter G and the Mesquite Rodeo for about 2 years, and this guy at times rides extremely well. And he's a tough guy all the time, and that's part of what it takes. Here we go, P.J. Morrison. Round to the right into his hand. He couldn't ask for one better than that. Come on, P.J. Jerked the rope out of his hand. Jerked the slack out of his Wranglers and everything else, but I tell you, had a good bull ride going.
Yeah, the flying was easy. It's the landing that's hard, but you're right. He got off to a pretty good start here.
We see what happens to him. Look at his head. Everything is perfect. He's whooping. Once you start coming in the back door, things are going downhill, and his hand popped out. Turns him a flip, 6.14, and he's hoping maybe, just maybe, I'd like to have do-overs.
Might be in pretty good shape, though, 6.14 seconds. We've been a little bit light on the qualified ride into things here. Russ Sanders now on Rompus.
All right, Andrews company. This is a young bull, Sanders. Just a nice, solid ride, and that's all you need to do. Doesn't really matter your score. Howdy Cloud's in as tight at 79 as the 284s because, you know, if they ride 4 bulls in the short go-round, in the final round of that 15, well, it'll be a big number. This bull just a baby. Look, you can see how thin he is. He's just coming around. That bull's going to be a good one. Another 600 pounds, and Sanders will have his hands full.
Makes the whistle here, though. 82 gets the best of Rompus this time, so That's the second best score we've seen. We've got a couple of 84s, an 82 and a 79 now. As we get to the Australian champion, Greg Potter, he touched on the fact that he won the aggregate at the Wrangler NFR last December.
All right, there's that ugly mouthpiece, but you know, I'd wear it if I could ride as sticky as Greg Potter's been here the last 3 or 4 months. Blood of Eden, the bull of Salt River's round to the right into his hand, and I never would have thought he'd have got bucked on. Look out! Oh, Diefenbach, nice job there. I don't believe I'd want to try to interview him right at this moment. Might get your head bit off. This bull turns back, and he's got a good seat, but watch, he slides him back on the rumble seat and puts him down. He just was going to try to hold position. Not going to work. That bull got a little bit flat and moved ahead. Put a veteran on the ground in 4.25.
Greg Potter sliding out the back door. That probably will put him on the bubble in terms of being able to come back. Talking with Corey Melton there. We'll have the finals from Xtreme Bulls Houston, presented by Coors Original on Sunday, June 6th, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. For more information, go to ESPN.com, click on Pro Rodeo. Lots of stuff there on the Xtreme Bulls series, what's going on in the summer and the winter tour in terms of Pro Rodeo. Davey Dyke now, the next guy to go. New Larry's dipping as a bull. This bull coming from Barnes PRCA Rodeos.
An Iowa bull down in Texas. Now, this bull said, "What's this, y'all? Coming around, and it's a dust storm. Get some of that Iowa corn-fed dust." Round to the right, and Davey Dyke makes a good bull ride. Ow! Oh, my goodness, he needs to work on that get-off. Oh, that hurt me. Oh, boy, howdy.
And he is still not up.
Diefenbach said, "Yep, we shook some more loose besides hair." Okay, it's a dust storm. You always got great pictures whenever the bull's real dusty and dirty from hooking the sand back in the pins and spinning to the left. And this boy made a nice ride. Watch this. That bull rope hung across his leg as he gets off. And watch this. You don't think he doesn't hit the ground solid. Now watch this rope drag him down. It's like cracking a bullwhip. Oh, my goodness. Woo-wee. He thought it was nice here in Des Moines.
Well, at least he's up and he's going to walk away from it. So Davey Dyke right in there. So 384s right now sit at the top of the leaderboard. And here is B.J. Schumacher dipping out from Barnes PRCA Rodeos. 100% buck-off rate for the bull, but he's matched up with a cowboy that really is starting to find his wheels.
He's been riding about 100%. If you ask any of the guys chasing Schumacher for the lead right now, really, really doing well. But as I said, it's hard to keep that going for an entire year. What you got to do is you just got to make them think that you're winning every time you get on.
You know, he lives in Wisconsin. We call him a cheesehead. You know, his dad actually works in a cheese factory, so BJ is tied to the cheese in Wisconsin.
Okay, here we go. Another Barnes Pro Rodeo bull, and puts down the #1 guy. And Bob Barnes will probably not say anything to anybody back in Wisconsin and Minnesota whenever they get back here about his bull bucking off the #1 guy in all of bull riding, and then just stepped on him to boot.
Or steps on that right leg as he comes down.
Oh! Never hurts to be a little bit lucky. 3.06 probably will not see B.J. Schumacher, and the look on his face tells you that he doesn't want to come back anyway.
Yeah, the Justin Sports Medicine team will go to work on that right leg. And there's Zach Brown. If you asked me at the beginning of the year who I thought would win the World Championship this year, I think B.J. and Fred Betcher would be in there, the Wisconsin connection. But I also like the Brown boys. And Zach Brown, we've seen Ryan a little bit earlier. He had some problems, but Zach's got a lot of potential, but has been pretty quiet this year.
Well, you know, he's done some change-ups with his bull rope and one thing and another, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But you know, what he's doing is kind of like the sophomore junior jinx a little bit. I mean, this is absolutely not Zach Brown. His rope is slipping across that bull's back. Normally he would start spurring with the right foot, but his hips are out of position. If you get out of focus and you get out of sync, it's a lot harder to do than it is to just talk about it.
Won in Ellensburg on our Xtreme Bulls tour last year. But a little bit of a slump right now for Zach and Ryan Brown. We'll not see those guys in the finals. And here's Jason McLean. He won in Reno last summer on our Xtreme Bulls tour, and he's a guy that's pretty quiet, so to speak. Just kind of lets his bull riding do the talking.
You know, I thought the best bull ride last year was his ride in the final go-around at Omaha at the Xtreme. You know, I think he was 95 points. You know, the point deal doesn't really make that much difference. It's just the ride under the circumstances. And when this guy's on, there's nobody that's any better than he is. But Jason McLean doesn't focus every time, and he's in trouble right here, and that's just a good draw. That bull should not throw him off, and he knows it.
Yeah, that's kind of what he's saying there, is he gives the dirt a toss back to the ground. We'll see what went wrong right here.
Well, his free hand comes back. You see where that moved his hips? You know, you have to position your butt in the right spot or you're not going to ride bulls. And if you get your butt up in the air, you're not riding bulls. You're just along for the ride. And he got his moved over into his hand, and that's that position of no return, 3.52 for Jason McLean.
Trio of 84 sit on top of the leaderboard, but a pretty tough group of cowboys in this final set, including that guy, Blue Bryant. He won our stop in Waco last year after making it in as the alternate. We've seen him score big in the past.
Yes, 95 points, so we're not done yet. He's got free ride.
Top 15 from this round go to the finals. The 16th ranked cowboy gets a date with Just a Dream, $15,000 challenge bull. If he doesn't make the whistle, it'll go up $5,000 to $20,000 on our next stop, and that's quite a bull right there.
Salt River Rodeo's pride and joy in that barn to buck program, but we've got some bulls in this round right here. Good matchup, Shane Drury and Smoke. Now, this bull is rideable. Shane Drury's consistency and toughness, I like that matchup. Justin Andrade, a lot of people don't know him. He's an older guy that's gotten well. He is a tough bull rider.
He will match up with Superstitious here, and so now we get back into the round, and J.C. Bean will be the first guy out. This is Love Shack. We've seen this bull a couple of times from Bad Company.
Bad Company brings in a set of nice bulls. They've all been ridden. Don't make a mistake. You'll get back to the top 15. Might even win a check in the round. Bean, Goldendale, Washington cowboy.
This bull's buck-off rate about 67%.
JC didn't get much airtime over in San Antonio. He hit the ground pretty quick. Got to right the ship right here. Doesn't matter what you did on your last one. Matters what you do right now. You see the big jumbo screen here in Reliance Stadium in Houston, Texas. Right there into his hand to the left, and he should get there. Made a good adjustment. Look at that bull fade around to the left, Jeff. Moving back, got him back, and he's hanging tight. Good job. Look out, leaderboard.
And JC came right down on the top of his head just after that 8-second mark, so Bean makes the whistle. A little tough get off, but he's all smiles, and you're right. Look out on the leaderboard.
Well, you know, they blow the whistle, then they shoot guns, then they pop firecrackers. I don't know whether to duck or high-five somebody, but it looked like he was going to get whipped down, and he just toughed it out. Get off wasn't real superb, but that's not what you enter for. He entered for a score like this coming up.
Yeah, 88, so J.C. Bean here in this round in the driver's seat. And he moves to the lead, and you look at the leaderboard, 88 in there, and then 384s, Fred Betcher, Davey Dyke, and Jerry Shepard. Clint Craig now, we talked about him off the top of the show. Dark Side's a bull from Bad Company. Buck-off rate on this bull right at 83%.
All right, fizzled in the back half of the year, starts to the right, coming back left, and he is toast. Clint Craig down and out early. You know, he's not been to the NFR. He could have made it each of the last 2 years, but I think he's going to knock the door down this year. I think he's matured quite a bit. He's patient. There's nothing wrong with his riding, and he's going to get it done.
Had a great start in 2003, won the Facebook County Pro Rodeo Shootout in Las Vegas, way up there in the world standings, and then just kind of hit the skids and slowly worked his way out of the top 15, finished 21st last year.
Well, it's real easy to start reading the sports news, see your name in there and get complacent, and then, gosh, everybody's passed you, and you got Bill's Mountain. You wind up having to go do a little shredding and running the bush hog at home.
Well, bull riders have injuries. Shane Drury, he has beaten cancer, so he's just happy to be back and competing again.
Well, that was a draw. Shane Drury should have ridden that bull Smoke, and he knows it. But here's a guy, he's a little bit embarrassed to talk about, you know, beating cancer and everything. He doesn't want to use that as an excuse because he did beat it. It was a rare form of cancer, and we just thank the Lord he's back okay. great guy, but his hips are into his hand, and whenever you get in the wrong spot, it doesn't make any difference if you got the pick of the litter. You're going to come down if you make a mistake.
2.94 seconds for Shane Drury. And that takes us right to Blue Bryant. The free ride's the bull from Bad Company Rodeo. 60% buck-off rate, so you got to like Blue's chances. And another thing in his corner, he's healthy. And when he's healthy, he's usually very good.
And he's not healthy a whole lot. I mean, this guy's been really beat up. Second generation. I rodeoed with his daddy. And, you know, this guy has a lot of the same characteristics. Here we go, round to the left. He likes Bad Company's bulls. He likes going to their rodeos. Got him a baby boy, and he is trying to buy some clothes. Bull rope jerked out of his hand, but I heard the whistle. Yep. All right, Blue Bryant.
Now the question is, better or maybe not quite as good as J.C. Bean's ride?
No, I don't think so. I think you have to dock him for that last second. But, you know, you get extra points spurring with the outside foot. Everything's working good, keeping that elbow down. And then he gets back on the end of the arm. He's got it taped really good, but it jerked it out of his hand, so they probably cost him a couple of points. 87 is still real good.
Yeah, he is right there with J.C. Bean. Bean in the lead with the 88. Now it's Blue Bryant with the 87. And here is Justin Andrade.
Livermore, California, and this guy quietly can be really, really tough. And he's one of the guys, you know, there's not a lot of guys, I think, that really can ride rank bulls when you get them all loaded up. He's one of them that can. But he just got to get his confidence and make some friends here of these younger set. He's in a little bit of a bind. Got caught kind of like Shane Drury, into his hand, just caught sitting just a little. That's a mistake. You come down. Do you see where his hips are? They're right there. He's leaning over, free hand back behind him, and you have to go forward with the free hand to move your hips over. It's almost a reverse pivot to get it set. 4.78, no score for Andrade.
Now to just a great all-around cowboy, Jesse Bale. He rides saddle broncs. He was awfully good in saddle bronc riding last year. Didn't make the top 15 in bull riding really until the very end of the season, but qualified for another Wrangler NFR in bull riding. You can see he's been there 3 times as a bull rider, 4 times as a bronc rider, and cruising, getting close to that $1 million mark in earnings. I just like to watch him, whether it's bulls or broncs. He's just a cowboy.
Well, he is just a cowboy, and actually he's been won nearly $1 million, and he's been fighting his head in the bull riding. And this bull fighting the chute, Jesse Bale is going to get out on him, but it really is a distraction. He's got to get that bull to look over at the gate where he doesn't turn out backwards, and his hand's getting a little tired, but he said, all right, boys, open the gate, come on, get me in the big pen. Big distraction, he just got to, you know, and just gets flung down, but sometimes cowboying up doesn't pay off, and there is a good shot of it, but I'll take that every time over sitting there all day long. I mean, this bull, even with the distractions, Jesse Bale made a mistake, let him get him into his hand, and bucked him off. A no score for Jesse.
Yeah, he came down pretty quick, 2.84 seconds the time for Bale. He will not make that top 15. Jesse is a tough old veteran, but we have a relative newcomer on the launch pad, Dustin Elliott. He was second in San Antonio, and he has a wide open round here in the first round at Houston. Well, he just got into town from Pocatello, where he was competing at the Dodge National Circuit Finals Rodeo. Some people, they say it's better to be lucky than good. Turns out Dustin is both.
Actually, I got into Pocatello as an alternate. They called me a couple weeks ago, said, you want to go? And so I spent $1,000 in plane tickets to get there and back, and didn't pay my gratuity fee because I didn't make it, so it was another $500. And then the planes, they lost my luggage. I was borrowing my mom's socks. I wore some of my dad's shirts. So, crazy trip.
Keep in mind, this was last night in Pocatello, Idaho, as he covers Broken Bone, one of the rankest bulls in the country, to pick up the big win. Donnie, did you ever have to borrow anything from your mother when you were riding bulls?
Well, only a little bit of money and a hairdryer back in the 70s, but man, what a great bull ride.
And you have Dustin Elliott, relatively unknown coming into the DNCFR. This is a great way right here to launch your career.
It's a great accomplishment. It's the first PRCA buckle I've won. I just can't complain about anything. I'm drawing good, I feel good. It's just been outstanding.
Yeah, so to set the stage, second in the Xtreme Bull Stop in San Antonio, first last night at the DNCFR, and he could be in the driver's seat right here.
Well, he could be it's a third generation bucking bull from Vernon Guidry, and this guy's riding really well. coming to the left away from his hand. He's leaning a little too far. He's going to override him, but he makes a great recovery. Back around to the right, in good shape. Show me some money. I love the way this guy rides. Shoving his hips forward. He's sitting down on that bull instead of raising his butt up like all these guys seem to be doing. And man, he is taking the bull by the horns, and that ain't going to be the only buckle this guy wins.
He is cool, he is confident, he is number 2 right now in the world standings. A star being born right here in Dustin Elliott.
Almost overrode him going to the left. He didn't have to, but he lets his hips get a little outside. See how he shoves them forward? That keeps weight on your feet. That keeps you looking right down what I call the gun barrel. And man, he's got that possum grin. It just doesn't go away.
A name to remember, Dustin Elliott, 88, so he is now splitting first place with J.C. Bean. And Dustin in a great position to win his first Xtreme Bull stop. And you won't win a buckle here. It's a Crystal Cup. Lee Woolsey will be the last guy to go now in the round.
Oh, Betty Be Ready is the name of this little bull, and he has got him going away from his hand, and a nice bull ride going right there. Just a little bitty young bull from Vernon Guidry and put him down. I thought he was fixing to be 80-something. Had a good ride going, but like 5.8 coming around. Free-handed, perfect position, getting a little of the outside foot, but you see the inside slip and him slide back. That's the only mistake it took for Betty Be Ready to get him down on the ground.
So the Bulls kind of get the best of these guys down here with the exception of guys like J.C. Bean and also Dustin Elliott. 88, a pair of them sit atop the leaderboard. We'll look at the guys that are coming back for the final round when we return to Houston after one quick break.
Well, before we wrap up the first round of competition down here in Houston, we have a challenge bull. Greg Fuller will go for 8 seconds on Salt River's Just a Dream. If he makes the whistle, it's a cool 15 grand. To help us set the stage, here's Donnie Gay.
This challenge bull, his name is Just a Dream. And the challenge bull rider, Greg Fuller, he's a Texan, Dimmitt, Texas. Okay, now I've seen this bull. Jerry Nelson has raised this bull. He's been out about 70 times in 2 years. He has 2 qualified rides. Both scores in the 90s. How do you feel?
Feel like I need to make it 3 times. I need to come out of here with some money. I've had rough luck here, and luckily I get to come back. Houston's giving me another chance, so I'm going to bear down, see if I can get it done.
Well, if you get it done, 8 seconds, $15,000. We're all going to be pulling for you, all 60,000. So, you know, you just get in there and ride. We'll talk to you when it's over. Get the money.
Well, let's talk about the money. Here are the guidelines for our challenge bull. I think the big thing is the fact that if Greg Fuller doesn't make the whistle here, we'll add 5 more thousand to the total. It will continue to climb until somebody conquers our challenge bull. The bull will change over the course of the season, but tonight it's just a dream, just like it was in San Antonio. Zach Oaks is one of the hottest young bull riders on the planet, but he didn't match up with Just a Dream very well. He made pretty much short work of him, so the contractor and the bull rider had a chance to split $2,000. The contractor getting the lion's share of that, and the money climbs, $15,000 now for Greg Fuller. But as you could tell, Donnie, it is a tough chore.
Well, Jerry Nelson was asked if he was nervous, and he said, no. You know, there's his foreman. Greg, he's going to set the flank for this bull, and a good young bull rider. This guy, it's not out of the realm of possibility for Greg Fuller to ride this bull, because if you're in the right spot, it could be real easy. This bull spends a lot of time in the air.
He does. He catches a lot of air.
You know, that part is scary, but once they're up in the air, there's no power. If you can manage to keep your butt up on your bull rope and not get slid back or tipped forward, you got a big chance. I'd be making sure my rope was real sticky. I'd even slap a little back there on them W's.
Now, the hard part, you know, I think in life is keeping your butt in the right position.
Yeah.
So he only has to do it here for 8 seconds.
All right, well, he gets everything set, and you know, you don't find out a whole long time before you have to just turn right around and jump on. So the biggest thing you got to do is get over in the buck and shoot. That's where you really need your routine. It's kind of like a putter playing golf. You know, when the big money's up, when you really got to rely on what got you there, and you can't be thinking or second-guessing yourself right here. This is big.
Yeah, you're not thinking about the challenge check at this moment. Your attention has to be on this bull, Just a Dream, because if you're in the wrong spot, it is a nightmare. And he's a fun bull to watch, and it'd be interesting to see what his perspective is from that seat right there.
Here we go. Greg Seminoles said he got things blind. Look at this bull get in there. Holy moly. I mean, I just love to watch this bull is a young bull. He's about 4, along 4 now, and he's just starting to fill out to get a little size. Good kid, but a no score, and that'll go to 20 grand. Watch it. Look at this bull get some altitude. Yeah, that's a little jump. There's a big jump. Oh, and there's a bigger one.
And there goes Greg.
I love this bull. A lot of athleticism. See how he's tipped forward. That's the death knell. Boom. And that bull jumps up in the air and kicks. You can't make one do that. They have to love their job, and Just a Dream does.
Another record crowd here at Reliant Stadium. We still have some unfinished business in this semifinal round. As for Just a Dream, he's made his way back to his comfort zone, back in his chute. Donnie, I don't even think he broke a sweat.
Well, I don't think so. The bull, he's, you know, there's another knockout punch for Just a Dream. He said, yeah, as for the bull, you get the horn.
This ESPN presentation of PRCA Xtreme Bulls Houston, presented by Coors Original from Reliant Stadium, is brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. By the United States Army, an army of one. By Mahindra Tractors, cultivate your dreams. And by Coors Original, real Rocky Mountain beer. It's Guys Night Out. Skyline of Houston, Texas, in the first round here is complete. 8 guys coming back with qualified rides, 7 guys getting in by way of time.
Well, and that always helps the guys because it's harder to just make the whistle when you know that's all you got to do.
But a pair of 88s in the lead at the moment.
Well, that wraps up the long go here in Houston. You have Dustin Elliott and J.C. Bean leading the way with 88s. Handful of guys making it back on time. Should be an interesting short go.
Well, it's going to be interesting. We've got some guys coming in, a lot of guys coming in on time. They got to ride their bull in a short go, and those guys that have made the whistle, they have it to do, but they've got a huge advantage. And I like Blue Bryant because he's been there, done that. Dustin Elliott, it's the first time he's got a big money pressure deal, so it's going to be fun to watch.
Payouts after the first round, as you would expect, the 2 guys leading getting the 2 biggest checks, but it's the next round that has the big paycheck, $25,000 to the winner of the finals of our Xtreme Bull stop here in Houston, presented by Coors Original. And speaking of Coors Original, how about our extreme ride from the first round? We go back to Ryan Brown and Mr. Freeze, and sometimes it's not how you start, it's how you finish, and he finished in a tough spot.
And when it's over, it's not always just over. He almost makes the whistle, he gets whipped down, hit, hooked in the nose, snot blowed up his underwear, ran over, stepped on, and no money. This is the life of a bull rider. Ryan Brown is living a dream, and sometimes they turn it to a nightmare.
Donnie, you're a pilot. You know that any landing you can walk away from is a good one. Ryan Brown could even smile about it when it was all said and done. We'll have the finals from Xtreme Bulls Houston, presented by Coors Original, on Sunday, June 6th, 1 p.m. Eastern. For more on Xtreme Bulls and Pro Rodeo, go to ESPN.com and click on Pro Rodeo. For 8-time world champion Donnie Gay, I'm Jeff Metters. We'll see you for the finals. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.